Okay, just sitting here with Big Murph. Time for a quick update at Freshfront and just kind of putting this out there, not really editing anything, just sharing the story. I think there's a few people kind of following along and I get a kick out of following other people's journeys as well. So there's been a lot happening. Obviously, we're a franchise business. The backstory to that was I quit a corporate job in 2016. So my wife was pregnant with our first kid. We just bought a house back then, had a decent mortgage, which is not much nowadays, but 10 years ago it was. We had bugger all money in the bank. Like, I was making a good salary, but what tends to happen is when you're working corporately or like in a steady salary job, you kind of just take it because it comes easy. You don't respect money as much. So we just never seemed to have a big stack of cash or anything like that. I wasn't on crazy money. I was on about 100 grand a year, but with a double income, we should have had more, but I think that's just what tends to happen when you're in that secure sort of working life. That's just me anyway. But yeah, we had bugger all money and I chipped it all in to go spray water at stuff, which was a crazy idea. People thought I was crazy, but sometimes you have to be a little bit crazy. But yeah, I went out and made all the mistakes, plenty of mistakes. But I had a bit of a vision for how the business would or should look. And I could see the opportunity to build good systems and technology and marketing to a service that's in need, that's, in a market that's undercooked. Like, from what I've seen out there, most people don't really know what they're doing. Everyone's just flying blind, having a crack. And that's what it's all about. But that's also the classic fragmented industry. So I saw an opportunity there. So, and I went through and I've built my own business before franchising to, well north of $1 million revenue with good profits as well. So there's not many people, I think, in our little niche or home service industry that have done that. And I realized why. There's so many things you have to understand and it's very hard to keep up with. And there's points in that journey, if you're scaling out a business, where you've got to push people in front of you or eat shit that sometimes doesn't seem worth it. If you've got a team of people, I had a period in a business where I had a small team of people and they were all making more money than me, but I was working flat out, on the truck, quoting, building systems, solving problems. And when anything went to shit, it came back to me. And, there's a lot of bullshit out there around, delegate, build a business. The reality is, it's very, very hard to delegate if you just don't have the cash flow. You can't just pay someone to do something and you can't just sit around, creating systems and things. You just don't have it because you got to feed your family, you got to do all this shit. So that's the reality of it. I did a lot of that because I've proven that I'm very persistent. I'm probably not the smartest guy or not the best. I just keep going. And I think that's a valuable skill or trait. But yeah, I could see why people wouldn't want to build stuff out. And there's a lot of moving pieces in a service business. So it's a simple business. You go provide the service, you get paid, you do it again sometime. But in the middle of that, there's all these other things that can go wrong. Exterior cleaning. How do you go to Mary's house and clean her patio in a profitable manner and explain that the pot stains aren't going to come up and get in and out there without damaging anything to make $300 or $400 or $500 or whatever it is and get a 5-star review and get a referral from Mary's friends and do that 2 to 3 times a day, every single day. Pretty tricky. And that's one piece of it. So the reason for franchising was that I could see the opportunity to take what we've created, experience system-wise, all the scars that we've earned, and distill it into something simple, something that I basically wished I had back in 2016 when I started. So that's the premise for it. But franchising as a business is a whole nother business. So it's literally, for me, it's been starting again from zero. So you lose that revenue stream. You have to build a new one. So yeah, that's a challenge. But the journey to franchise as well is not something you just do. It's not like, oh, I'm having some success, let's just franchise. It's a shitload of work. So you have to be deliberate about it. You have to understand what you're in for. It's probably one of the tougher industries in Australia due to the regulation and so forth. It's highly regulated. I'm just trying to get the camera in a better light. Super highly regulated, so you have to make sure you do the right thing. But yeah, the decision for me wasn't just like, let's franchise Freshfront. It's happened over the last couple of years. So about 2 years ago, I think, maybe not quite. That's when we started, did a bunch of work. I wasn't quite convinced what we had was market ready. So I actually restarted that and did a whole bunch of work and, did things twice. Did our agreements twice. We rebranded the whole business, which was probably one of the smartest things we've done. I think the brand is really up there. We restructured how our pricing works, our daily operations. I scaled down my own business because I realized I couldn't run a 10-person company and also franchise myself. Once again, you might say, well, why don't you just hire someone and delegate it out? I didn't have the money. So I couldn't see myself hiring a unicorn manager to just manage my current own corporate location and then just go do franchising. I could see that breaking. Those kind of businesses at that size, 10 to 20 employees, they need the owner hands-on to actually drive it forward. So if you get beyond that, yes, you can get traction and grow it, but I knew that wasn't the path for me and I wasn't really interested in doing that. So I made the tough call to scale back, sort of get boots on the ground again, be run lean and mean and get profitable, and then hit franchising deliberately. So that's what we did. So January this year, we officially turned on some ads for franchising. We were ready to roll and feeling really confident about what we have, but had no franchisees. And yeah, started connecting with people through my personal profile, so personal brand. So starting to just build that. That's why I set this channel up, just to share the experience, because I can see that people want to connect with the guy or girl who's doing it. They don't want the corporate shit that is mainly out there in franchising, and there's a big shift in the industry away from that. So yeah, it was just me, send me a DM, running some pretty out there ads, which were quite funny and quite engaging. Probably not what the franchising world had seen. So it kind of stood out to people and resonated with people. And the ideal candidates I was looking for guys like me, or girls like me, who were in a job, a process, a system, and they realized they could probably, back themselves. They just needed a new system to run with. So I connected with some people and just had a lot of conversations, generated a lot of leads there, a lot of bad leads. Probably the marketing funnel was way too wide. But yeah, had conversations with people and connected with our first franchise partner, which was Gary. He was 30 years in one location, one job, and he was done with corporate and corporate was done with him. And he wanted an opportunity to go and do something for himself. It was a bit of a punt both ways, because I didn't know him, I didn't know our profile, he didn't know I'm just some guy that he spoke to. So there was some trust building that we did through conversations, and if you ever speak with me, you will get exactly how it is. There will be no bullshit, there's no fluff. The good, the bad, and the ugly will be told. And I think that's important. So, but yeah, Gary came on board, we signed contracts. Going through that legal process is something that's not spoken about. It was something that I wanted to make sure we had right, not only so I could protect myself, but I wanted to, obviously the brand, other people are going to be investing. So our legal documents and contracts have to be very good, because you're protecting everyone else's business as well. on the flip side, you've got to have something that's digestible. You know, if someone's signing in an agreement with you and the agreement's like way too unfair or one-sided, they're never going to sign. Or if the agreement's just complete bullshit, ChatGPT rubbish, their lawyers are not going to sign. So everyone who's come through so far has had external legal advice. They've looked through our stuff and no one's really had any issues with it, with the exception of where people have gone to generic lawyers who are not franchise law specialists. Contract lawyer, for example, they're going to tear everything to shreds. That's their job, but there's a lot of assumptions that, you know, a franchise agreement should have. So if you go to a franchise lawyer, that's definitely a bit of advice if you're getting into franchising or buying a franchise. Connect with a franchise lawyer, and I went to what I think is probably one of the best in SA, if not Australia. Like, they're quite reputable, people know them, so when they see one of their agreements, they go, okay, it's from these guys, they're going to be watertight. But we got through that process, and then, you know, we exchanged funds and everything and got Gary set up and started building his equipment. So that was the process. It was very drawn out for the first time, but I guess we were both learning. Now we can do it much quicker. So we know what's coming up, we know the time frames and so forth. But yeah, we got his equipment together and started basically building a business for him from zero. So we look at, you know, setting up all the software. You know, we set up Xero, all the chart of accounts. We set up a forecast so he can forecast the month and then back check it with his P&L, and then we help them through that to make sure your business is running good. We set up we use ServiceMates. We set up all the ServiceMate, all the integrations, all the automations, all the way through. There's some custom tools that we use that plug into that we set up. There's our Notion playbooks where all the information is how to run the business is in there. There's our training system that we use, a school community, which if you've ever used School, SKOOL, it's a pretty prominent learning platform or community-based platform. All of our franchise partners are in there, so we've got our own internal community, and then there's training in there. So we've got 40 hours worth of video training about how to clean stuff, and then many more hours of business training, sales training, and then we did all that in-house for a week or so, and then we start to test that out in the field. Now, we didn't have trucks ready early on, so we used our trucks, got our franchise partners into our trucks, go do this job. Literally, like, here's a truck, here's a job, go do it, bill it out, use the process that you've learned. If you get stuck, give us a yell. And that was a really good way to get traction early and get validation, so that, you know, you've just bought a franchise, you've just started, and a week later there's already money coming into your account, which I think was really important. Now we kind of, like I said, we've streamlined that a bit quicker. And that's just going to get better and better. So that's the process. And now we have 4 franchise partners. So just in SA, we've done that deliberately so that we can actually refine the system. There's been refinements in the training, some of the day-to-day operations, how we manage the leads, how we book things, scheduling. We're building a lead booking engine to improve that as well, so that's pretty cool. We've built some custom software around quoting to make quoting easier. And I've said to everyone, like, if there's an issue that can be fixed, we'll move fast on it. So that's just how it is. One of the other things we're working on is a internal portal, so you can buy everything you need to buy for your business. You just click, you can get it. You don't have to deal with 100 different suppliers, and, you know, it's one supplier to invoice. You can keep track of everything, and we kind of handle some of the logistics and get stuff out to you. Why do we do that? We don't make any money on it. We actually make almost zero profit on those transactions, but we do go out to market and find the best deals for equipment, for you need flyers or clothing, whatever it is. We get the best deal, we pass it on so you can make more money, because that's what all that matters. We get paid as a royalty on the top line of revenue. It's up to us to make sure that you're profitable, and then you've got a good business. You're going to share that story with people. So pretty simple way to do it, but I don't know, for some reason people don't do that. So yeah, we're 4 in total. The last person to come on board was Daniel, which is a really interesting story. Daniel worked for me at Freshfront in the business when I was building it for the last 7 years. So he came on, initially his brother was one of the first employees we had, who was great. You know, we kicked ass together and did some great stuff. He got an opportunity to move on to another sales role that was a really good opportunity for him. His brother came in, Daniel, earlier throughout that journey, and he actually started to get really good at the business. So he was doing sales and sort of a team leader type role, like production manager type role. He was just like the go-to person. So he always wanted to go and do franchising. I think when he saw what the other guys were doing and how the system works in reality, it got him more motivated. The limiting factor was the buy-in. I was able to give him a little bit better of a deal on some of the fees because we wouldn't have to train him. He already knew everything, so we worked out something there. But he still had to buy a brand new vehicle and all the equipment fit out. And, you know, he still had to go out and get, you know, 100 grand worth of capital to start the business. But once and I think that's what put him off for a little bit, but he had a discussion with a broker, and suddenly that was actually quite simple. It was a lot easier than he expected. And it was literally the case of, it's going to cost you, you know, maybe an extra $100 a week to do this. Everyone's situation's different, but my point is you should get the advice. I think people look at the number as a cost rather than an investment. But to give you an idea, in his first month of operation, like literally the first, say, 30 odd days, he turned over $31,000 of revenue, and there's plenty of profit in that. So he's now booked out through January. Yeah, so that's franchising. Like, good luck trying to do that. Start a business from zero in this industry and do those numbers in the first month. And this is compounding. So if you're doing that in the first month, where are you going to be 2-3 years down the track? Now, you're going to be 2 ways. You're either expanding, putting a second truck on, and if you're motivated that way, fantastic, we'll back you. Or you might just have this thing dialed where it just works and you have a very cool life. Like, if you can fill your schedule the right way, you can have a ton of flexibility, and he's really enjoying that flexibility. He's wearing a bit more risk running his own business, but if he doesn't want to work, that's up to him. If he wants to go hard, that's what he's going to do. So that was really, really good validation when you got someone who's been with you for a long time. They've had a lot of security. He could have stayed on board as part of franchising and helped us in that area, but I think the decision he's made to go launch his own was 100% the right move, and it's going to pay off for him, regardless of if he scales that up or keeps it lean and mean. So that was really cool. The other guys are all doing really, really well. Like giving $30,000 a month a nudge, which is pretty impressive. Killing 5-star reviews. Like, I've never seen someone stack 5-star reviews so quickly. I guess that's just the benefit of having a system. Following a system, you're putting your efforts into things that actually get you a return. One of the traps of starting like a new business in the service industry is you're putting so much effort in just to how to survive day to day. Like, how do I do the work? How do I quote things? What software do I use? What about my website? What's this Google AdWords crap? What agency do I use? Oh, I got a call back from a customer because I missed something. You skip a lot of that. So that's one of the beautiful things about franchising in this system. And like, we're super supportive. So we're running all the digital marketing stack. I've had to turn off the guys' ads because they were generated too many leads. They can't keep up. We can't service them. So we have to dial everything down there. We're running a website that's converting, driving leads in. We're optimizing local profiles and driving leads in that way. We're helping them even down to managing their zero and making sure their books are reasonably well in check. Helping with some housekeeping around their service mate accounts and making sure things are followed up and just being that edge. So the idea behind Freshfront is to take a hardworking Aussie who wants to build something and they want a machine to go hell for leather into. And then from there, we help you become an unfair advantage, nightmare to compete with in your local market. And you get to make money and retain some lifestyle. And you're building a business. This isn't a job. I think franchising's like kind of looked upon as lesser than, but it's actually the expectations in our network are higher. Like there's things that we do that you could probably just get away with in other businesses. We got a high expectation, but high rewards. So, so that's all happened. And then the big thing that's happened recently is I follow a podcast called Tell Us Your Effing Story. It's supposed to be franchising story, but there's a bit of a joke that it's fucking story. I think that's funny. It's a franchisor podcast. It's really good. You should check it out. They had a competition called Emerging Giants where they're facilitating growth for small franchise and retail systems, 3 locations and above, to help them get through this early stage of growth that I'm in right now. Like early franchising, there's not a lot of money. It's really cash hungry. You got to do everything all at once. That's why I'm in my gear. I'm out on the truck still every day. I'll probably put 20 grand through the books on my own truck whilst managing all these guys and onboarding new franchisees. So, we put a hat in the ring for that and we made the top 5. I flew to Melbourne last week to pitch for that. So we had to pitch in front of very seasoned franchisor, a franchisor panel, like really successful people. And also a peer group of really well-learned people in franchising. It was super intimidating for me to do that because I feel like I'm kind of like new kid on the block in franchising, but I was very passionate about my pitch and I went out there and nervously poured my heart out with precision to the panel, and we're up against some really tough businesses, really serious businesses who are doing big things in franchising, or people who have already done big things in franchising, which really put the pressure on. But I was very fortunate that I could get my story out, and I think the pitch hit, and the judges saw value in what we do as a system. They saw the scalability, the growth potential, the fact that we had systemized it, and we had traction already. And although we're new, the traction that we have is in franchising reasonably fast without being too crazy. And importantly, I think they could see the passion that I've got for our franchise partners. Like I actually truly give a fuck about these people, because it's not just business, like their families are wrapped in with this. They've made huge changes. And I've done that big corporate change. You've got a little baby, your wife's pregnant again, you've got a half renovated house, you've got $0 in the bank account, it's winter, you're trying to find work. I've been there. No one's going to understand that like me. So I've built this system to try and give you every edge to overcome that whilst, grabbing the opportunity in the industry that we have. So the winner of that pitch, which was Freshfront, which was fucking awesome, gets access to a potential $250,000 equity investment. So it means we are in discussion with the guys at BDC for investment in Freshfront to help grow it. So I don't know what that looks like. There's due diligence that needs to be done, probably on both sides. We've got to value what we have and see what the split is. But early discussions are promising, based on, their view is like, hey, let's help you grow something that's good. We don't want to take control away from you. We just want to help you. And I want access to that intellectual capital so I can grow this thing. And once again, it's not just for me. I said to all our guys in network, if we grow this bigger, your business is going to be more valuable. Like imagine getting into Boost Juice early. Tell me those people didn't sell their stores for a bucket load of cash. So there's that, and also the brand exposure. So another part of that win was getting access to some time with Janine Ellis. So she's the founder of Boost, Retail Zoo, Shark Tank, all the, amazing. She's a fantastic operator. Huge amount of respect for Janine and just how she does business. She's very brand focused, very customer centric, systems focused. That's all my stuff. So it's absolutely wild that I get the opportunity to share that. And if you're looking at what we're doing and thinking, okay, maybe this is more than just spraying water at stuff, 100% it is. Like, I don't know how much more validation you need. So if you're interested in having a chat, lots happening at Freshfront. Get in touch. You can just ping me an email, info@freshfront.com.au, or check us out, my personal profile, Marty Fresh, or find me on LinkedIn, or just call the office. Some people just call out. That's cool too. Just, use your grey matter to get in touch with us. Have a discussion on what it could look like taking this brand to your local area. There's no hard sell. I'm not pitching this to anyone, but there has been a few people that have watched this content that have went, hey, I've actually seen your stuff. Like, I want to do that too. We're on the same page. So that's what it is. But the idea behind this video is just sharing a bit of the journey. And if anything, I can look back on it and reminisce or lick my wounds. Who knows? And we're currently on the lookout for the next round or next franchise partners. Tons of applications and leads, like hundreds. It's a lot of work to filter through them. A lot of them are probably not the right fit. Even the people that we do have conversations with, we've gotten right to the end and decided either they or we have, no, it's a no-go. Like, that's how we're playing this thing. I could literally, if I just wanted to sell franchises, I could have sold, probably 20 by now quite easily, but that's not the game. So we want quality. What we have so far is quality in terms of representing the brand, and also these people are building kick-ass businesses. Like, it certainly gets you up in the morning. So that's my deal. We'll give you the next update, maybe once we've gone to meet with the guys at BDC. I'm also going to jump on their podcast, which is going to be awesome. Bruce and John are great guys and very funny. So that'll be a really good one. And it's also really good to fly the flag for like the exterior cleaning industry, because I think it's been overlooked, or it's a bit Wild West, a bit crazy cowboyish, when there's some opportunity there. So that's all from me. That's all from Murphy. Murph. All right. And now I have to go clean and seal someone's pool pavers, because early stage franchising, you got fuck all cash flow. And I've got rent to pay on my warehouse, and I've got staff and all those lovely things. So I'm going to go do that. And hit me up if you got any questions or you want to chat. I'm hard to shut up sometimes, but very passionate, and I love what we do. And if you want to come and do it with us, should do that.